It's a wonderful thing when family-friendly animation decides not to talk down to the audience and include mature themes that resonate with both children and adults alike. Some of these are a lot more overt, like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, dealing with concepts like mortality, death, and letting go of the desire to hold on to your youth so you can move on to the next stage of your life with dignity, all through the lens of an anthropomorphic talking cat in fancy footwear.
You know we will meet again, right?
Sí, hasta la muerte.
Or Inside Out, telling the story about the struggles of change and learning to deal with complicated or negative emotions by personifying those emotions and giving them a fantastical, metaphorical landscape to reflect those internal struggles.
They came to help because of sadness.
But not every movie is built so strongly around their core theme, and you have to look a little closer to realise why it resonated with you so much. I think Megamind falls into that category. Beyond its half-dozen musical montages and cheesy superhero humour, Megamind asks the question of if we're just playing the role everyone's always expected of us, if it's even possible for us to choose to be someone else, and if people will accept us as anything other than what we've always been in their eyes.
You're a villain, and you'll always be a villain. You'll never change.
Megamind wasn't exactly a huge commercial success, being one of DreamWorks' lowest grossing films of the 2010s. But when you're released in the same year as Toy Story 3, Despicable Me, Shrek Forever After, Tangled, How to Train Your Dragon, you're not only up against some stiff competition, you're also competing in a highly saturated market of quality family-friendly animation. I know it sounds insane to say these days, but there was actually a time when there were so many good movies that you didn't have time to see them all. But since then, Megamind has developed something of a cult following as people slowly came to realise just how good the movie is, and if this was 2012 and you told me they were making a Megamind sequel, I would be hyped, I would be well on board. A sequel to one of my favourite movies? We could have Megamind coming into his own as a hero, dealing with the struggle of what it means to be a good person. We could even have character development of him learning that when you're responsible for the safety of others, you don't have the option to just give up and try again later. You have to keep persevering, even if it puts you in greater risk of danger. The concept was only very briefly touched upon with Titan, and you could definitely expand on it.
You're dead!
Whoa, 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 whoa. This isn't how you play the game.
Game over.
But it's not 2012 anymore, and I don't want Hollywood touching anything besides the big red button that launches Los Angeles into the cold vacuum of space where they can't destroy anything else I love. But as the technology currently eludes me, we're forced to endure the release of Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate. Calling this a bad movie would be a modest description, really. More like absolutely fucking horrendous and unfunny and pointless and cliche and created by the talentless and lazy.
Sort of influential sort of a chap.
You could say that, yes.
You can tell something is very wrong with this movie as soon as it begins and Megamind starts giving a recap of the previous film. It just doesn't sound right. Obviously Will Ferrell and Tina Fey didn't reprise their roles in this movie, but it's not the voices, it's the dialogue. It feels like it was written by someone who never watched the original movie but did read the IMDb synopsis.
Until I totally kicked his butt!
This just isn't Megamind's personality. He doesn't boast and lie with such confidence. Sure, he's very egotistical, but it's performative. He's actually very insecure, having relegated himself to the role of the loser villain his entire life. Watching the original movie, you'll notice that when he's playing the part of the villain, he's loud and theatrical. But in any other situation where he has to be genuine, he's much more unsure of himself. Ultimately, I just don't believe this is how Megamind would remember the events of the original movie. So, if he's not acting like Megamind, who is he acting like? Well, he's acting like a generic kid show TV character.
I see friends who frankly should put some pants on and venture outside occasionally. Seriously, get some sun!
I don't like to constantly claim that something is written by AI. I think it takes accountability away from the Hollywood writers who, credit where it's due, are actually that bad at their jobs.
And I had problems with that, and a lot of us on the production team had the problems with that, of associating disability with evil.
But there's just something about this movie. Obviously the overview is that Megamind comes into conflict with the Doom Syndicate, but it doesn't really feel like a movie. It feels like a bunch of kid show plots you've seen 100 times in 100 different shows that would usually get put to the middle of a season because they're so generic and forgettable. Like, tell me if this sounds familiar. One character becomes estranged from a character that was always subservient towards them and realizes how much they actually did for them and that they can't take care of themselves without them, so they have to reconnect. That's one of the many threads of this movie. Megamind doesn't appreciate Minion anymore, so he leaves and Megamind falls apart. Oh, wait, yeah, his name's not Minion anymore, it's Old Chum, because Universal can't be having any brand confusion with their Despicable Me merchandise characters.
So, Megamind gave me a new name. Old Chum. It means old friend.
It doesn't even make sense. Megamind has always treated Chum as his best friend, but he's so ungrateful and thankless towards him at the start of the movie, it doesn't align with his personality at all, but it does facilitate the impetus for this generic plotline to begin. Or what about this? Someone, or multiple someones, believes another character is something they aren't, and so that character must engage in elaborate deception to convince them that they are that thing. Megamind has to convince the Doom Syndicate that he's still a villain by doing fake bank robberies and pretending Roxanne is his evil bride.
You think I'm pretending to be a hero?
Huh? Oh.
And you'd be right, of course! That was absolutely my intention!
Or what about a new character shows up and is obsessed with the protagonist and is initially really annoying and in the way, but ends up being a key element of the plot's resolution? The only new character introduced in this movie besides the Doom Syndicate is Keiko, the president of Megamind's fan club, and she's just as annoying as you'd imagine.
Megamind just saved yours truly from becoming a human vegan pancake. For more awesome saves, click like and subscribe.
If I was being generous, I could believe she was brought in so kids had a child character in the cast to relate to, but I'm not being generous because this movie's awful, so let's just acknowledge that she was brought in to meet a DEI quota.
I got teased a lot. My name, the way I dressed.
It's Hollywood, baby.
But you see what I'm talking about. It's less a movie and more a collection of different TV show episode plots blended together and congealed into 80 minutes of some of the worst looking entertainment possible. Yeah, it probably hasn't escaped your attention at this point that the movie looks absolutely awful, which makes it even weirder that they chose to open the movie by showing footage of the original Megamind, but I guess it did save money and add to the runtime. I just can't get over how the whole movie feels like I'm watching a PS3 cutscene. Look, watch, I'll prove it.
Sir, those bystanders are about to get squished! It does not look good for them. Oh, right, I'm a hero now!
See, how fucking uncanny was that? But it's not just bad, it's lazy. One of the Doom Syndicate is called Lord Nighty Night. It's a stupid name for a stupid character, but that's supposed to be the joke. One of the many unfunny jokes in the movie. But on top of that, Lord Nighty Night is a very recent name change. He used to be called Fright Night. So when Megamind reveals that he used to be leader of the Doom Syndicate and shows a holographic image from the past, you'd expect Nighty Night's chestplate to have an FK on it. But, oh wait, it still says NK, because they didn't change it, because they either weren't paying attention or they just didn't care. It's just such a stark contrast to the original movie. One of my favourite scenes is right after Roxanne learns that Megamind has been pretending to be Bernard. He says, "I can explain," and in the background, one of the mayoral posters reads, "No, you can't." It's such a great minor detail, but here, they can't even bother to change the letters on a nameplate to adhere to their own lame joke.
What are you talking about? It's nighty-night. It's like a night that's even darker than a usual night. Plus, I'm an actual night, which is also super dark.
But is it dark?
Actually, talking about that scene from the original movie, it's a great scene for showing that these characters are adults and that they have more complex thoughts and feelings beneath the surface than their outlandish personas might allow them to express. When Roxanne says, "Do you really think that I would ever be with you?" and Megamind quietly responds, "No," he's not even really saying it to her. It's an introspective moment of himself. That this villain he's always been isn't someone who deserves happiness, and having to lie and trick her to try and get it only emphasizes how unworthy he is. Comparing that to Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate, Megamind is treated both as an actual child and an out-of-touch boomer.
My generation was born tech-savvy.
Really? Then I suppose this is one of those smarty pants phones with a calculator built right in.
Okay, wow, that proves you really need my help.
He's completely unable to take care of himself without Chum, to the point he has to call Roxanne because he doesn't understand how to use a toaster.
Newsflash, toasters need to be plugged in or they won't work.
Show me what you did, sorceress!
This joke might make sense for characters like Homer Simpson or Grunkle Stan, but Megamind's power set is that he's a super genius, a master of technology. He builds giant robots and space lasers. You're telling me he doesn't know what an iPhone is or how to use a toaster?
It just raises too many questions.
His relationship with Roxanne has also been completely destroyed in this movie. Obviously, Roxanne and Megamind disguised as Bernard had romantic chemistry in the previous movie, but there wasn't really time to redefine it after the deception was revealed. But by the end of the movie, you do see indicators of attraction through body language and affectionate touching, and although it might only be a half-second freeze frame at the end of the movie and on the cheek, she does kiss him. Here, it's treated like a joke that they would ever be in a relationship.
Behemoth always sees certain romantic tension between Blue Man and Pretty Lady.
Really? But obviously there is some romantic tension between you two, no?
It's complicated.
But why would Roxanne desire a romantic relationship when instead she could focus on being the girl boss she always knew she was meant to be? Roxanne's... I don't want to call it an arc or character development, but at the start of the movie she decides, oh man, it's been 2 whole days since Megamind became the defender of Metro City, and I'm still here, reporting the news. I should be in a better position. So obviously we need a character in a high position of power, but so utterly incompetent at his job that Roxanne can just take it from him because she deserves it solely on the basis of wanting it.
I don't know what to do! Nobody told me marrying would be so hard, and I can't open my tummy medicine! Thank you, Christina.
So by the end of the movie, she's basically just given the job of mayor. She must have at least done something to deserve it though, right? Well, no, of course not. Her first great idea is to tell the police to back off from the Doom Syndicate. Not the worst idea considering they're armed with flashlights, a far cry from the original where the police erect a barricade of handguns and M16s aimed at Megamind. But yeah, she says to tell the police to back off and put emergency services on standby. Thank God you were here, Roxy. The way your mind works, it's just so brilliant.
Far be it from me to presume to tell you what to do, Mr. Mayor.
No, please, presume away. I got nothing.
I had to rewatch the original movie just to see if this guy was this painfully incompetent and somehow I'd just forgotten. He's not. He's just a normal mayor who can't do anything against supervillains, but he is so pathetic in this movie just to make Roxanne seem competent.
Oh, you think you can do better?
I know I can.
Oh! Okay.
Just sent you my resume.
But he's not the only one. The men in this movie seem to be so bafflingly useless just to make the women look better by comparison.
Ma'am, you give me no choice but to assert my dominance upon you.
So, after failing to even make cupcakes, once the city gets launched into space near the end of the movie, don't ask, it's not even important, Roxanne can only reprise her plan of telling the police to do their job, telling paramedics to do their job, and telling the firefighters to give her their truck. And this is apparently enough to prove she should be mayor. I guess men just need to get out of the way and let women be the girl bosses they were always meant to be.
Not gonna be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Okay, this is probably the point where I should actually talk about the Doom Syndicate themselves, but they just suck so much. They look like rejected Skylander designs. They have no character or personality outside of their very limiting villain themes.
I'm the darkest and the doomiest.
I am the clear choice. I have a valet.
There's no motivation for any of them. They're villains because they're villains, and they're not like Megamind who had the role of villain forced upon him because it's what everyone expected of him. Or maybe they are. We know nothing about any of them. How they became villains, how they got their powers, nothing. The closest we get is Lady Doppler, dumb name, says that she became a villain after getting fired from her weather reporting job because she never got a forecast right, and so she turned evil and started throwing lightning at everybody. Lady Doppler, as the most human design, looks especially bad. Her hair is horrendous, her makeup is so thick it looks like it's been applied with a shotgun. She's wearing some sort of skin-tight raincoat / umbrella with rubber gloves and high-heeled Wellington boots.
Were you just by a child?
There's just no actual threat to these guys. They're so dumb and cartoonish you can't even take them seriously. Not to mention that the plot revolves around Megamind having to trick and stall the Doom Syndicate because he doesn't know how to take down 4 villains at once, completely ignoring the dehydration gun which can seemingly incapacitate anyone instantly. I can believe it wouldn't work on Metro Man or Titan because they're so fast and the lethal repercussions are missing, but these are just normal villains. It wouldn't be so bad, but he uses it multiple times throughout the movie on these fish-themed villains.
I knew it was only a matter of time before the Go Fish Gang tried to steal the diamond-encrusted toy on loan from the Beijing Water Palace.
Compare the Doom Syndicate to Titan. We understand Titan's personality. He's a creepy, obsessed stalker who's always felt like he deserves more than he has.
Oh, I don't know, Hal. I don't really feel like being around a bunch of people.
No, that's the best part. It'll just be like you and me.
We understand his motivations. He wants power, he wants wealth, he wants Roxy. And even though he's an idiot, when he inevitably turns evil, he's legitimately terrifying because he's an unstoppable, amoral psychopath completely willing to kill anyone who gets in his way. The Doom Syndicate have no personality, they have no motivation, they're villains because they're villains, and all they want to do is break stuff, rob banks, and go on crime sprees. Nothing they're doing is a means to an end for them, it's all just random, generic villainy for the sake of itself.
I say we break in Megamind City with a good old-fashioned crime spree.
Yeah! How are you supposed to take any villain who can be held off by makeshift tennis ball launchers seriously? Even the way they're defeated is lame as hell. You'd expect some big climactic confrontation, but Megamind just kind of escapes to a random construction site and skulks around. Burying one in cement, getting another to electrocute themselves, Behemoth gets hit by Roxy driving a fire truck, and somehow the littlest diversity hire takes out Nighty Night.
Nighty Night, Nighty Night.
One of the biggest sins as a Megamind sequel is that the movie just has nothing to say at all. It's solely made to try and rinse as much money out of a popular property as it can and has absolutely no heart. Unforgivable for one of the two Megamind sequels. But wait, Megamind didn't have another sequel, did it? Well, yes, kind of. Many of you might not know about it because it was released with the original Megamind DVD and Blu-ray back in 2011, but it was a short film called Megamind: The Button of Doom. It follows day one of Megamind being the defender of Metro City as he sells his evil inventions before accidentally unleashing a giant robot on the city, thinking that the only way to be a hero is to just be Metro Man, imitating his powers and even copying his outfit. Before realizing you can't be a hero just by pretending to be someone you're not, and the only way Megamind is going to be able to defend the city is as Megamind. The short is only about 12 minutes long, but there's somehow more comedy, heart, and effort in those 12 minutes than the entirety of Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate. The original Megamind was beautiful and well-rounded, like Sydney Sweeney's breasts. Its sequel is lifeless and flat, like Zendaya's breast. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. So yeah, bye.
DJ, put another stanky groove in my pocket.